welcome to our presentation about different career pathways for cognitive science majors at UC Davis. My name is Jillian and I'm one of the staff advisors for the cognitive science major, and I'll be your host for today. So here's an overview of what to expect today. We're going to start off looking at the career development wheel, and then we'll talk about RIASEC, which is a concept to help understand career interests and how those relate to various jobs. Then we'll dive into some specific common pathways students in the cognitive science major go into. We'll also share some resources for further exploration. Finally, if you're watching this video for your mandatory advising and you have a hold, please stay till the end for the link to the quiz.
Okay, so this is the career development wheel that the Internship and Career Center uses to cover the steps that you're going to go through as you make career decisions throughout your life. Today's talk is going to focus on the first two sections, the self-exploration section in purple and the work research section in green. Before you can start making a career decision, you have to have a decent understanding of yourself, your values, what is important to you in the way that you live and work, your interests, what do you like to do, what motivates you. Your skills are also important, what are your strengths, what are you good at? And then finally, your personality. How do your personality characteristics influence the type of work that you do and the environment that you choose to pursue? A better understanding of yourself, work research is the next logical step. So understanding what kind of jobs are even out there. That's where the second half of our talk is going to come in, where we're going to go over common fields and job titles that are out there. To just briefly go over the next steps, once you know yourself and the world of work, it's time to get some experience, right? So this is where internships, volunteering, part-time jobs, things like that come in. These experiences can help solidify your decision and lead you to the decision-making step. And then once you have a decision made of at least the path that you're going to take right after you graduate, that's where your job search skills are going to come in. Things like networking, creating resumes and cover letters, interviewing skills. Then once you use those skills to land your job, you're going to need to manage your career. So manage things like boss expectations, work-life balance, making connections, relationships with your coworkers and supervisors. One thing I really want to point out here is that even though this process is laid out beautifully in little steps in a wheel, it's truly not linear. You might be in, say, the experiential education in an internship step and find that it's really not what you thought, or you're not liking it like you thought you would. And you might have to step back either to work research or even back to self-exploration to kind of learn, what did you learn about yourself? Reflect on those new things that you've learned through that internship. You're going to be going back and forth throughout these steps throughout your life and career. So that is to be expected. It's not a failure. Just want to stress that for you right now. Or RIASEC. This is one tool that can help you understand your interests and how they relate to your career decisions. This acronym stands for realistic, investigative, artistic, social, enterprising, and conventional. And both people and careers can be categorized in these 6 interest areas. We'll link to this quick assessment that you can do to help find your top 3 interest areas. And then once you have your top 3 areas or your 3-letter code, you can use that code to explore some careers of potential interests in something called ONET, which is an online resource for career exploration. We recommend pausing the video now to take this assessment and come back to finish the video when you're done. Okay, so hopefully by now you have your 3-letter code. So we're going to explain what these interest areas are all about. In terms of people, here's how you can understand what these areas mean. So we're going to start with realistic. This is somebody that likes working with things, like working with your hands. So you might work with things like machines, tools, or the outdoors. You like working with tangible objects. Then we have investigative, which is somebody that likes working with ideas a little bit more than things. So think things like researching, analyzing, observing the world around you. If you have artistic in your top 3, this is somebody that has a creative streak. So you might like unstructured environments, self-exploration, using your imagination in your work. For social people, this is somebody that likes working with and serving other people. So think things like teaching, training, counseling. Those are things that you like to do. And then we have enterprising. I also like to think of this as entrepreneurial. This is somebody that also likes working with people, but it's more about leading, influencing, and persuading those people rather than being in service of others. Then finally, we have conventional. This is somebody that likes working with data, likes structured environments, and very detail-oriented work. So in terms of how these interest areas relate to different careers, here are some examples. So realistic, these careers are the doers. So think mechanics, X-ray tech, engineer as just a few examples. And then we have investigative. Those are the thinkers. So professors are a big one, the people teaching your classes. That's a very investigative career. Also doctors, programmers, and even engineers. And we'll talk about that in a second, why they both showed up under realistic and investigative. Artistic, these are the creators. So it could be a traditional career like writer, actor, singer, but it could also be somebody that just has creativity in the work. So think advertising, marketing, museum curators, things like that. Social, those are the helpers. So those are our counselors, teachers, social work, but even things like human resources where you are helping other people. And then enterprising, those are the persuaders. So think like sales, leaders, so CEOs, real estate agents, politicians, things like that. And then we have conventional, those are the organizers. So think careers like accounting, actuaries, bookkeeping. So do keep in mind that these, just like you are a combination, let me start over. So keep in mind, just like you are a combination of multiple interest areas, so are careers. These examples showcase careers that fall strongly into one top letter, but they will each have a combination of, say, 2 to 3 letters that they are categorized under. So, like I mentioned earlier, you'll notice that engineers are listed under multiple areas. This is because there are multiple different types of engineers that will involve different tasks. So different specializations of careers may fall under a different top category.
Just an introduction to the self-exploration piece of the career development process. Now we'll move on to work research and cover cognitive science specific careers. So what can you do with a degree in cognitive science? I'm sure you've had this question yourself or heard this question from your friends or family. Anything. Okay, that's not exactly true, but you probably hear it a lot, and that's because your major is only a small piece of how you can prepare for a career after UC Davis. Your choice of major can lead to a wide variety of jobs, but some other factors in your career exploration process include experiences and connections.
So experiences are things like part-time jobs, club activities, research, internships. These activities can not only help you narrow down the careers that you might be interested in, but they can also make you a competitive candidate for jobs after college. They give you things to fill out your resume, talk about in your cover letter or your interview. Even if you try something out and you end up not liking it, that's still really valuable information that you can use to make decisions moving forward. Experiences also help you build your network. And that brings us to connections. So connections are your network, right? You can build these by getting involved in experiences, but also through attending things like career fairs, going to office hours, or going to on-campus events. And as you build connections throughout your life, you're going to want to add them on LinkedIn. You never know when a connection might help you in the future. Adding them now and building that network on LinkedIn while you're in college will really set you up for success in the future, so you're not having to start from scratch when you graduate. And if you don't have a LinkedIn yet, please make one. Your future self will thank you. So a common question that we hear a lot from students is whether choosing a Bachelor of Art or a Bachelor of Science really matters for future career opportunities. The short answer is not particularly, but the longer answer is that it really depends on your goals. The two most common goals after you graduate are either you plan to get a job or you plan to go to graduate school. So if you plan to get a job after you graduate, generally employers care more about your experience, your skills, and your connections than your degree type. So read job descriptions carefully to understand what you need to do to prepare for a future position. And when I say read job descriptions, I don't mean read job descriptions for something you're going to apply for right now. I'm suggesting that you look at career job descriptions for jobs you might want to apply for 1 year, 2 year, even 5 years down the line. Reading what employers are looking for in those fields, then the experiences and the skills can help you figure out what steps you should be taking now to be getting experience to be prepared for a role like that in the future. If your goal is instead to go to graduate school, it's still true that most graduate programs are looking to see that you've completed the prerequisite courses, have strong grades, and have relevant experiences to help prepare you for that program. In many cases, you don't need a specific degree type or even a specific major to go to a graduate program, as long as you've met the prereqs for that program. An advisor can help you navigate which degree type would be best fit for your interests and goals. So if you're still not sure, make an appointment and we can help you out. With all that being said, there are careers that align more easily with some degree types than others. So for the purposes of organizing the information in this presentation, we have divided the careers up by emphasis. So we have the Bachelor of Arts, the Bachelor of Science with a Neuroscience emphasis, and a Bachelor of Science with a Computational emphasis. However, I want to stress that doing one emphasis doesn't necessarily preclude you from doing a career listed in another emphasis. You might be doing a double major or a minor or have some internships and clubs that make a difference in your educational preparation. Remember, your career is a combination of your academics, experiences, and connections, so talk to an advisor for specific help navigating all of your options. Here's a bird's eye view of the cognitive science related career pathways that we're going to cover in this presentation. This view is not categorized by emphasis, it just shows you a wide variety of careers that might be relevant to a cognitive science major. Many of these are actual jobs and fields that our alumni have gone into. We'll cover all of these in more detail, and we'll share a link to this in the description of the video so that you can explore on your own. We're going to start by talking about the career options for the cognitive science Bachelor of Arts major or the general emphasis. So here's an overview of the larger areas that we'll cover today. We have education, business and human resources, and then counseling and therapy related careers. So within education, you might work in either higher education or K through 12. In higher ed, here are a few examples of careers. So first is the professor. So that's the person that's teaching your courses. They conduct research and they publish their findings, and they also supervise graduate students. You could also be a professor at the community college level as well, but there your main focus would be teaching. You wouldn't typically be conducting research and you wouldn't be supervising graduate students. You could also be a researcher at the university level whose main focus would be conducting research and publishing their findings. Typically, they don't really teach. And then there's student affairs professionals who support students at universities in a variety of ways, either through academic advising, financial aid, housing, or retention centers, things like that. At the K through 12 level, which is elementary, middle, and high school, the most common pathway for our students is to be a teacher. If you're interested in working with elementary school students, you would get a multiple subject credential. And then if you want to work at the middle and high school levels, you would earn a single subject credential instead. Now we'll move on to business and human resources careers. A cognitive science major can be invaluable for a career in business or human resources because it provides a strong foundation in understanding human behavior, communication, and interpersonal dynamics. So human resources is a broad field where you might be responsible for one or all of the parts of the employee life cycle. That could be recruiting, hiring, onboarding, training, or even firing employees. You might also process benefits or payroll. And we'll have some sample titles for each of these careers on the screen. So a recruiter is under the HR umbrella, but it's a common pathway for our students to go into after they graduate, so we wanted to highlight it specifically. This is somebody who finds and attracts qualified candidates for a company's job posting. Then we have training and development professionals who plan and administer programs that improve the skills and knowledge of employees. A few other careers under the business and human resources field include project or program manager. That's somebody that uses creativity and collaboration to design and implement projects for a company's different initiatives. We also have marketing specialist. That's somebody that's going to analyze trends, collect data on target audiences, and create marketing campaigns to gain customers and increase sales. And then we also have a data analyst. That's somebody that's collecting, cleaning, analyzing, and interpreting data to help stakeholders solve problems or make decisions. You might also present your findings to the stakeholders. Counseling and therapy careers are of common interest for cognitive science majors as well, but many students don't realize that there are a lot of different ways to go into these fields. To start, the most common way to become a counselor or therapist is a master's level pathway. In California, after receiving your master's degree, you can obtain a license as either a licensed professional clinical counselor, LPCC, or a licensed marriage and family therapist, LMFT. Both of these licenses lead to working with clients in a clinical setting, but the focus of your graduate training will be slightly different. An LMFT program will focus a little bit more specifically on the relational and interpersonal dynamics within families, marriages, and couples. There are a lot of different counseling specialties, and we'll share a link to CACREB, the accrediting body for counseling programs, that outlines all of these different specialty areas. The second master's level pathway to this career is a social work program. A social worker is a very broad career in helping people, and we'll share a link to all the different types of social work careers that there could be. But with a master's in social work, obtaining the LCSW license, which stands for Licensed Clinical Social Worker, allows you to provide counseling services to clients similar to those with an LPCC or an LMFT license. Finally, there is a doctorate level pathway to this career, which is to obtain a PhD in clinical psychology, or a PsyD, which is a doctorate of psychology. Note the emphasis here on a PhD in clinical psychology. There are a lot of PhD programs in psychology, including the one here at Davis, that won't lead to a career working with clients. The PhD program has to specify clinical psychology. There are a lot of different specialties of psychologists recognized by the American Psychological Association, or APA, and we'll share a link to those as well. Typically, psychologists are a little bit more specialized than counselors or therapists, such as in their theoretical orientation. They may also work with clients that have more severe mental health issues. This career is different than a psychiatrist, and we'll touch on that later. I also wanted to highlight a counseling adjacent career for cognitive science majors, which is applied behavior analysis, or ABA. This is best known as being the leading evidence-based treatment approach for autism or other developmental disabilities. You can actually work as a registered behavior technician, or RBT, while you're still in college, and then become a board-certified assistant behavior analyst with your bachelor's degree. Okay, so those were some of the common areas for cognitive science Bachelor of Arts majors. Now we'll cover career options for the computational emphasis, which is a common pathway for students interested in working with data or technology. The computational emphasis equips you with a strong background in computer science, making you well suited for various careers that involve working with data, technology, and understanding human behavior because of the cognitive science aspects that come along with the major as well. So what differentiates this major from the other emphasis options in cognitive science is the additional STEM coursework that's required, which provides you with a solid foundation of programming, data structures, discrete math, and other computer science topics. So a cognitive science major is valuable in tech careers by offering a deep understanding of human cognition, behavior, and users' mental models. While the Bachelor of Arts major may be sufficient for some of these careers, the computational emphasis provides a deeper understanding of programming, data structures, and algorithms that can aid in these careers. First, we have user experience, or UX design. This is somebody that creates a seamless and meaningful user experience by understanding user needs, conducting research, and designing intuitive interfaces. We also have user interface or UI design, which focuses a little bit more on the visual interactive elements of a product to create aesthetically pleasing interfaces. Sometimes you'll see these roles separated like we have here, or sometimes you might see them combined as a UX/UI designer. Then we have a user experience researcher who collects and analyzes data about user needs, wants, and goals of a product or service. Then we have a product designer. These roles work with the roles above, but they look at the bigger picture. So how does the product fit into the overall market, the overall brand, or the overall organizational goals of the company? Finally, we have a data scientist who finds patterns and creates statistical models using a combination of data analysis, software engineering, and machine learning. So finally, we'll cover career options for the neuroscience emphasis, which is a common choice for students interested in health-related fields. So a cognitive science major can aid in pre-health careers by providing a deep understanding of, again, human behavior, facilitating effective communication and empathy with patients. The interdisciplinary nature of the major also provides a well-rounded approach to patient care. So what differentiates this emphasis from the other emphasis options is the additional STEM coursework that's required, which fulfills many of the pre-health prerequisite requirements. So that's biology, physics, calculus, neuroscience, and statistical analysis. So here are just a few examples of health fields that are relevant to the cognitive science major. First, we have doctor, either an MD or a DO, and a psychiatrist is a specific form of doctor who receives additional training in the field of psychiatry. Then we have physician assistant or physician associate. That's somebody that examines, diagnoses, and treats patients under the supervision of a doctor. Then we have a nurse or an RN. That's somebody that provides and coordinates patient care and educates patients and the public about various health conditions. Then we have audiologist. That's a medical professional who diagnoses, treats, and manages hearing, balance, and ear issues. Then we have speech-language pathologist who treats many different types of communication and swallowing problems, and they work with people of all ages, from babies to older adults. Finally, if you really like research, there are clinical research careers that might be relevant. So that's pharmaceutical research. You might work as a clinical research associate or a clinical research coordinator. You can visit Health Professions Advising for more information on a lot of these careers and even more health-related fields at hpa.ucdavis.edu. All right, so that concludes our presentation of different career pathways for cognitive science majors. Of course, no presentation can truly be exhaustive. There are so many careers out there and new ones are being created every day. So we hope this information at least gets you started on your career exploration journey. We now want to share some resources for you to further your exploration, and all links, of course, will be shared in the video description. So first we have a cognitive science career website with links to different career databases, graduate programs, and more. There's also a special page all about therapy and counseling careers if that is of interest to you. Then we have a pre-filtered list of UC Davis alumni on LinkedIn, so you can see what actual cognitive science alumni from UC Davis are up to now. Then we have the Internship and Career Center, or the ICC. That's an amazing campus resource that offers things like one-on-one career advising appointments. They put on all of our campus career fairs. They put on workshops about things like how to find a job, interviewing skills, networking, and more. And they also have a ton of information on their website for more career research. Finally, like we just mentioned, Health Professions Advising is a great resource for students interested in any sort of health field. Thank you so much for watching our career presentation. If you are here to clear your mandatory advising hold, use this link or QR code to take the quiz. You need a 4 out of 5 to pass, and you can take the quiz as many times as you need to get that score.